Okay, let me tell you a story. It's a story about desire, about wanting to be seen, and about the absolutely devastating price you can pay for chasing the wrong kind of success. This is a cautionary tale, and it all kicks off with one simple question. Now, really, think about it for a second. What would you be willing to give up for it? A little bit of your time? A few white lies? How about 10 years of your life? We're all kind of wired to want approval, right? But the real question is, how far is too far? This isn't just some philosophical thought experiment. It's the very thing that destroyed one woman's life in a story that serves as a massive warning sign for all of us. You know, there's actually a name for this feeling we're all chasing. Psychologists call it social reward. It's that little dopamine hit you get when someone compliments your work or when your post gets a ton of likes. It's a basic human need. We're built to want recognition because it tells our brains, hey, you belong here, you're part of the tribe. But what happens when that drive, that need, goes completely off the rails? Well, to explore that, we're going to dive into a classic short story by Guy de Maupassant called The Necklace. And in it, we meet a character whose hunger for the social reward becomes her absolute, complete undoing. So say hello to Mathilde Loisel. She's beautiful, she's charming, and she is just deeply, profoundly miserable. See, she believes she was born for the high life. We're talking silk dresses, fancy parties, and everyone looking at her with envy. But her reality? She's married to a regular clerk and lives a painfully average life. And she doesn't just wish for something better. She feels like she's been cheated out of the life she deserves. And then one day, it happens. An opportunity falls right into her lap. It's a golden ticket to the world she's always dreamed of, even if it's just for one single night. Her husband comes home with an invitation to this super exclusive ball. For Mathilde, this is it. This is her shot. But of course, she's nothing to wear. So she convinces her sweet husband to give her all his savings for a new dress. But even that's not enough. To complete the look, to create the illusion of wealth, she needs jewels. So she borrows what looks like a ridiculously expensive diamond necklace from a rich friend. The costume is complete. She's ready for her moment. And you know what? It works. For one glorious night, the fantasy is real. She is a total sensation. Everybody wants to know who she is. She dances all night, just completely intoxicated by the attention, finally getting that powerful hit of social reward she's been craving her entire life. This one night is the absolute highlight of her existence. She is seen. She is admired. She is magnificent. But you know how these things go. The higher the high, the harder the fall. That fleeting moment of glory came with a price tag, and the bill was about to come due in the most brutal way imaginable. So they get home. She goes to the mirror for one last look at this glorious version of herself, and her heart just stops. The necklace. It's not there. It's gone. Panic sets in. They search everywhere. Nothing. In an instant, the dream shatters, replaced by a cold, stomach-churning dread. Now, pride is a funny thing. Instead of just admitting what happened, they make a disastrous decision. They'll replace it. They find a nearly identical necklace with a price tag that is astronomical. They wipe out their savings, their inheritance, and take out loans from everyone, including loan sharks. And for the next 10 years, their life is a living nightmare. They move into a tiny attic. Mathilde, who dreamed of servants, is now on her hands and knees scrubbing floors. The brutal, endless work destroys her youth, her beauty, her spirit. 10 long, miserable years, all to pay for one night of pretending. After a full decade, the debt is finally paid off. Mathilde is old before her time, hardened by years of labor. And then, one day, walking down the street, she sees her old friend, Madame Forestier, who still looks as young and elegant as ever. And Mathilde decides it's time to tell her the truth. She goes right up to her and lays it all out. The lost necklace, the crushing debt, the decade of poverty and backbreaking work to replace it. And she says it with this strange kind of pride, the pride of someone who has paid their dues, no matter how awful the cost. She's probably expecting a little sympathy, maybe some admiration for her sacrifice. But her friend just looks at her, completely stunned. She takes both of Mathilde's hands and says the 5 words that turn her entire decade of suffering into a meaningless, tragic joke. Oh, my poor Mathilde, my necklace was fake. It was paste, costume jewelry, worth almost nothing. Her entire life ruined for a lie. So what on earth is a lesson here? I mean, this story is just devastating. But it's also a powerful illustration of the difference between recognition you actually earn and the cheap imitation that Mathilde nearly died for. Let's break it down.
See, what Mathilde chased was false recognition. It's based entirely on what's on the outside. The right dress, the right jewels. It's the empty validation you might get from pretending you have a perfect life on social media. It gives you a temporary buzz, but it's built on nothing, so it's fragile. Authentic recognition, on the other hand, the kind that actually matters, that comes from your effort, your character, your integrity. It builds you up from the inside out and leads to real, lasting fulfillment, not a decade of misery.
So the real takeaway is this. This story isn't really about a lost necklace at all. It's a giant, blinking warning sign about valuing appearances over substance. It's screaming at us that who you are is infinitely more important than what you have. And maybe the most painful lesson of all is about pride. Her inability to just be honest and admit a mistake, that's what truly cost her 10 years of her life. And this brings it all right back to us, doesn't it? We all chase things we believe will make people admire us. Maybe it's a fancy job title, a designer car, or a certain number of followers online. But it's worth taking a second to ask, are we chasing real diamonds, or are we sacrificing our actual, real lives for something that's totally fake and ultimately worthless? What's the fake necklace you might be chasing right now? It's a heavy question, but an important one. If this story made you think, do us a favor and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back with more stories and ideas that break down the world around us. Thanks for watching.